So last night, Bernie Sanders was asked the first question in the Democratic debate part 2, or night 2, I should say. And it was the exact kind of question that you'd expect. Take a look.
You've called for big new government benefits like universal health care and free college. In a recent interview, you said you suspected that Americans would be, quote, delighted to pay more taxes for things like that. My question to you is, will taxes go up for the middle class in a Sanders administration? And if so, how do you sell that to voters?
Well, you're quite right. We have a new vision for America. And at a time when we have 3 people in this country owning more wealth than the bottom half of America, while 500,000 people are sleeping out on the streets today, we think it is time for change, real change. And by that I mean that health care, in my view, is a human right. And we have got to pass a Medicare for all single-payer system. Under that system, by the way, vast majority of the people in this country will be paying significantly less for health care than they are right now. I believe that education is the future for this country. And that is why I believe that we must make public colleges and universities tuition free and eliminate student debt. And we do that by placing a tax on Wall Street. Every proposal that I have brought forth is fully paid for.
Senator Sanders, I'll give you 10 seconds just to answer the very direct question. Will you raise taxes for the middle class in the Sanders administration?
People who have health care under Medicare for all will have no premiums, no deductibles, no co-payments, no out-of-pocket expenses. Yes, they will pay more in taxes, but less in health care for what they get.
Thank you, Senator.
So that was a trick question. That was a gotcha question. Again, the framing is meant to get a soundbite from Bernie that they can then use to bludgeon him over the head with. Having said that, he didn't handle that well. He did not handle that well. Bernie, this is how you answer a question like that. When they ask, are you going to raise taxes on the middle class to pay for your Medicare for All program? Here's what you say. No, because I'm eliminating private taxes. And then you could go on to make the point, which is one of the points he made, where he said no premiums, no copays, no deductibles. So then they're going to fire back at you and be like, wait, what? What does that mean? And then you can keep sticking to your guns and hammering away on exactly what you mean. Where you're having the debate on your terms and you're reframing it. You don't give them the soundbite that they're looking for. Are you going to raise taxes on the middle class? Well, if you give them the full context, they can't get their soundbite. So the answer is, no, I'm not going to raise taxes on the middle class because I'm eliminating the private taxes that are premiums, copays, and deductibles paid to your private health insurance company. Just because the money's going to a corporation doesn't mean it isn't an effective tax. It is absolutely a tax because you have to pay it. So what if I told you I eliminate that, and then even though your public taxes would go up, overall you save money? Now, he did effectively say that by the end, but it's too much of a roundabout and too much of going back into your standard tap dance with your standard talking points. Dude, you have to disarm their bullshit up front. Listen, I don't want to overstate it because Bernie's a machine, and Bernie cares deeply about policy substance, and he is going to kind of hammer away on the same talking points, which is generally okay. But I just want, it's too disconnected to just kind of immediately pivot when you're asked a question, because everybody's waiting for your answer. And if you don't immediately answer it and then explain, people are going to roll their eyes and be like, see, he is going to raise taxes on the middle class. So I think what all the candidates need to get better at, not just Bernie, is say what the fuck you're trying to say, get it out, and be direct. But you can still have it on your terms. So when they ask you, will you raise tax on the middle class? You say, no, because I'm eliminating private taxes. Even though I'm raising public taxes, if you eliminate private taxes, I save everybody money. Now, again, some of you might fire back and say, well, he did kind of say that, but it took him a long time to say it, and to the point where they followed up and asked, I'm going to ask you again very simply. And then he would look like a deer in headlights. you gotta get the framing down, my man. You gotta get the framing down. If you reframe it as what you're paying to private health insurance companies, that's a tax. If you reframe it as that, you win. You 100% win. If you give them their little soundbite, as he did in the middle there, yes, I will raise taxes, then all they're going to do is take that and run with it. So listen, I don't want to only put the blame on Bernie here because the question is a trick question. It's a gotcha question. The whole point is to trip him up. The whole point is to make it look like he's not in favor of regular people and working people, because it's to make it look like, oh, see, he wants to raise your taxes. Ooh, gotcha. So it's almost like anti-intellectual on purpose. So you also blame the media here. But Bernie needs to be prepared for stuff like this, and he wasn't prepared there. Somebody get the term private tax to him and get it to him now. I agree with everything Bernie said in terms of his plans and whatnot there, but I didn't like the way he answered that question. Now, having said all that, I do tend to be stricter on the people I like because I really want to see him do well and I really want to see him succeed. So I'm like, I'll scrutinize him very strictly, but that's because I care and I want him to do well and I want to do what's right. I want him to do what's right. I want him to say it in a way that disarms everybody immediately. That's one thing that like almost nobody does right in debates, and it's infuriating. Because once you learn this trick, it's over. You're going to win every debate. The trick is immediately answer and disarm and reframe. Don't ever like kind of meander as Bernie kind of started doing there. So anyway, that was the first question, and it kind of set the tone for the night. As expected, they do kind of, go after Bernie in a shitty way, and notice they asked him a follow-up question there. The first question they asked Biden bullshit his way through the entire thing, and then they didn't ask a follow-up question. That's not an accident. The media has their favorites. The media has the people they dislike. They definitely dislike Bernie more than Biden for obvious reasons. So he's going to have to deal with the hostile media, but this is not anything we aren't used to.